All right, section 5.5, we're on part 2, or day 2, still talking about absolute values, but now our absolute values are not going to be isolated by themselves. Something is going to be added, subtract, multiply, or divide with the absolute value. So go ahead and set up this problem. The absolute value of 2x minus 7 minus 5 equals 4. Okay, we have to work with that absolute value last. So we have to clear everything else out first. Since this is a subtract 5, the first thing you're going to do is add 5 to the other side. Get rid of that so that on this side of the equation, we only have an absolute value. So then it looks just like yesterday's problem. If it doesn't look like the problems you did in part 1, then you've got to get them set up to look like that. Once you know this, which is the distance, once you know the distance is 9, now you can do the two problems of 2x minus 7 has to equal 9, and 2x minus 7 equals negative 9. Notice I didn't change it up here. I didn't do this problem equals 4 and this whole problem equals negative 4. First, you have to isolate the absolute value. Once you do that, then you take the bars off and solve the two problems. This should look just pretty much like the previous lesson. You're going to add 7 to both sides, and I'm going to go ahead again and do it all the way across. Might as well, right? 2x equals 16, and over here 2x equals negative 2. Divide by 2, once, twice, again, and you find out your answers are x equals 8 and x equals negative 1. Okay? You can plug them back in and check your answer if you use 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. Absolute value of 9 is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. You can put a negative 1 in up here. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 7 is negative 9. But the absolute value of negative 9 is positive 9, and 9 minus 5 is 4. So go right ahead, plug it back in, check your answers. This one has multiplication instead of addition to it or subtraction. Go ahead, write it down as is. You can't do anything until your absolute value is isolated. So the first thing you're going to do is divide by 3. You are not going to try to distribute this. You can't. That's against the law. These guys are in jail. They're stuck behind bars. Literally, they're in bars. You can't just take this guy and put him in there. He's locked out. There is no distributive property with absolute value. These are not parentheses. You have to get rid of that 3 by division. Get rid of that 3 and put it over here. Now that you have the absolute value of 2 minus 6 equals 4, that looks just like the problems that we worked on in day 1. Go ahead and solve it. You can do it on your own, or you can pause it, or you can follow me. But I'll probably go too fast right here, so pause it if you have to. X is going to equal 5, and x is going to equal 1. We'll make it even a little bit tougher. So the first one had addition and subtraction. The second one had division. This one has both. And we're going to solve it the same way we solve any other equations that we've worked with all semester. Treat that just like it's the variable. So you're going to always do adding and subtracting first. Minus 7 from both sides. You get 2. Absolute value of w equals 6. Then you're going to divide by 2 on both sides and get the absolute value of w equals 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3. If the distance from 0 is 3, we know that we could have gone 3 to the right, or we could have gone 3 to the left. Either one of those works. There's always one of these. You think you get the hang of it, and then I'm like, well, what if this happens? What happens if you have this? Absolute value of 3x plus 5 plus 6 equals 2. It looks just like the problem we did before. Not like the first problem. So the first thing you do is minus 6 from both sides. And you would think you would solve this just like any normal problem. It's the absolute value. But we have to go back to the idea of what is absolute value. Absolute value measures distance. If I take 1, 2, 3 steps this way, and I take 1, 2, 3 steps this way, either way, if I want to measure that, it's the same distance. Probably it's, 2.5 yards, not even. The same distance. You don't measure distance as a negative. You can't say the distance between these numbers is negative. There's no such thing as a negative distance. If I hop in my van and I drive to Laval, that's 7 miles. If I hop back in the van and drive back to Reedsburg, it's not negative 7 miles. Have you ever seen a road sign that says, Laval, negative 7 miles from here? Like, if you drive east, it's positive, but if you drive west, it's negative. It doesn't work like that. All your distances are the same. So, your answer will be no solution. Yes, I'm okay with no soul. That works for me. No soul. Why? Can't have a negative distance. Can't have a negative distance. And you might say, yeah, but we've had a negative distance every time we do this. No, we don't. We had a distance equal to 9. We took the bars off. And we're no longer measuring distance. We're just trying to find x. You take the bars off, take the bars off. We're not measuring distance. We're just finding x. But then you have to be careful on this one. It's our last one. And go ahead and set it up. You might be looking at that and saying, oh, it's no solution because the answer is negative. Not yet, it's not. You always got to take that first step. Write it down. Absolute value of 3x plus 5. Subtract 6 equals negative 2. Add 6 to both sides before you do anything else. We have to isolate the absolute value before we can do any other math. Negative 2 plus 6 is 4. This is okay. Saying the distance will be 4. If the distance is 4, then we're going to find out where it is. 3x plus 5 equals 4. And 3x plus 5 equals negative 4. Go ahead, pause it, solve it, and come back when it's done. Is anybody crying right now because they got a fraction? No, I don't like fractions. They're so scary. No, they're our friends. We're okay. We can do fractions. X equals negative 1/3. X equals negative 3. Those are your two answers. Good luck with your assignment. Again, take care that you isolate the absolute value first before you do anything else, before you set up the two equations. Your goal is to get the absolute value by itself. Good luck.